Today, y'all are tuning in to get some tips and bits on some things you can do at your house to prevent failures or any catastrophic damage.
I'm Trevor Bacon with Bacon Plumbing, Heating, Air, Electric. Been plumbing for, 11 years, started in June of 2013. I currently hold a master plumbing license in Texas and Colorado.
I'm Bruce Brookins, been in HVAC for 7 years. I'm NATE certified, EPA certified, and a couple other credentials under my belt as far as trainings go. Trevor, I'll let you take the lead on this one. Tell me something about condensate cleaning or prevention.
Condensate cleaning and prevention is important because in the event you don't, the inevitable is it's going to back up one day. When that happens, the result could be flood damage to a home. It could cause you a lot of extra money that you didn't plan on spending. Could cause you having to take off work to spend money to fix your home. When all in all, you could have just been preventative and saved all that time, money, and effort.
There's some other things that go into it on the HVAC side. You can see an increase in humidity. More or less, the most important thing is to make sure that you don't have water pouring through your sheetrock. Having an untreated drain line can result in a few different things. Very few of them are actually not going to hit your pocketbook. It could be as simple as having a rust stain on the side of your home, sheetrock damage. You can even start running into mold, mildew, and other growth issues within your home. Depending on how long it goes on, you can have buckling floors, splitting sheetrock. I've seen it all over the years. It's just one of those things that you want to make sure it is out of sight, out of mind, but something that you want to focus on at least twice a year.
So in the event that you don't do preventative maintenance on your condensate drain, the inevitable is that it's going to back up. With backups come the worst case scenarios as flooding and so forth. So sometimes the condensate drain pipe actually stops up and then it floods into the HVAC pan. Those pans, they just don't keep up with all the water all the time. So sometimes that water will overflow the pan, and if your system's in the attic, which most are, then all that water is coming down through the ceiling, through studs, on the cabinetry, under tiles, so forth. That water is going to take the path of least resistance, and it's amazing how far water can spread even with the smallest amount. As long as that leak is steady, that water is just going to go and go until it can't anymore and pulls up in the worst places possible. On the plumbing side of it, those drain stoppages can get so bad that they can actually push into the plumbing system. So we mentioned that the condensation drain most of the time ties into a lavatory sink in a home, which when I say lavatory, that's a restroom sink. In the event that backs up, whether you use the sink or not, that constant flow of condensation is going to fill up that sink to the point where it overflows the countertop onto the floor, under tiles, under studs, under sheetrock, which just leads to remarkable damage, remarkable contractors you're going to have to hire, sometimes insurance claims, and just the ripple effect from that is just so unnecessary and so costly that that's why we're so persistent on educating people on the preventative maintenance, because a $50 bottle can save you thousands on thousands of dollars, save your PTO time, and save just a bunch of headache at the same time. A good indication that your HVAC line needs to be cleared. One, every HVAC system has a backup emergency drain. In Texas, the most common practice is to have this drain coming out of a soffit somewhere where you can see it intentionally. So outside of windows or outside of doorways. In the event you see water dripping from a pipe outside of a window or doorway, that is an immediate indicator that you have a problem. That's telling you that your air conditioning condensate line is backed up. Now that water is going into the pan and out of the emergency drain line, which is a huge red flag. On the plumbing side, a huge and major indication is if you see a sink backing up, as in the water is uprising in the bowl of a sink, even when you're not using it. So that air conditioning condensation is constantly pouring into your plumbing system as the air conditioning is running. So even if you don't run that sink, you'll see that that water is continuously filling up the bowl of the sink, and it will get to a point that it actually overflows that sink. And that's when we're running into those next level issues, flooding the home, having to get contractors out, spending a bunch of money that is not necessary.
Another thing to take into consideration during this is you can be without AC. If it starts draining, you're gonna have to turn it off so it's no longer producing water. Not only that, but a lot of them have those safety switches on there. Some have to be manually reset. A lot of them are automatic, but they won't reset until that drain line is run the way that it should. If your HVAC system is up in the attic, you'll have what's called an emergency drain pan underneath it. It's a big rectangular metal tray, essentially, with a drain line that's hooked up to it. I don't know about you, but I've driven through a bunch of neighborhoods and you'll actually see a rust stain on the side of some homes. That's a big indication that they've had some major drain line issues. What's happened there is the drain pan started to rust out. Water's still going into the secondary because the primary is still backed up, but all that rust is now starting to run down the side of your home. So you're unintentionally painting the side of your house. A sugar pants color, if you will. Another indication that you have a backed up drain line is actually your HVAC system not working at all. Here at Bacon, we install what's called a flood stop, flood prevention, ceiling saver, whatever you will. But what that does is it turns the system off to keep it from producing any more water while running the HVAC system. I'm going to try my best to explain step by step how to use the Bacon Bio. First thing is purchase that Bacon Bio. You take it up in the attic or in the closet with you, wherever your HVAC unit is, the indoor unit. You're gonna need a funnel with you just to make sure you don't have any spillage or overpouring. But you drop the funnel on the top side of that T, and the T is just gonna be the vertical open pipe on your system. Some may have a cap, simply pull the cap off and replace your funnel inside of that pipe and pour about a cup's worth of Bacon Bio down the drain. Sometimes it's a little harder to see on some systems, but you'll be able to see it drain the same way as water. If you would like, you can turn your AC on at the same time just to make sure it's instantly starting to rush the pipe and not just staying stagnant. If it does, not a problem. It won't build up or solidify or anything like that.
You need to identify where your air conditioning system is located in your home. Some are in closets on the first floor. Most are going to be in the attic. So once you're up to that unit, you'll see a PVC drain line that comes out of the unit. And it typically has what we call a P-trap, to where it's a U-shaped fitting in that holds water. So whenever you open that and you see holding water right there, that's normal. Then have a funnel, get a cup of this Bacon Bio and pour it into the top of that outlet, that opening right there on top of that P-trap. From there, you just want to make sure that it goes through, that it's not overflowing over the top. In the event it starts overflowing over the top, you may have a underlying issue that you need to address. But other than that, if it flows freely, it's doing its job, you can exit the system and go about your day. Currently, our recommended product and what I use now is the Bacon Bio Drain Cleaner. Reason is this product is designed for the condensation drain and much more. So when you pour this down your condensate drain, it gets rid of all that gunk. It keeps all those enzymes out of that pipe. And what I like about it the most is that it carries into the plumbing system. So your air conditioning condensate drain most of the time drains into one of your lavatory sink drains in a restroom. So once this flows through that, it hits the kitchen or the sink drain, and then it flows into the plumbing system from there. So it's actually being preventative to both your condensate and your plumbing system at the same time. It's biodegradable, it doesn't smell funky, and it just seems to do a better job than both bleach and vinegar.
The reason why I prefer the Bacon Bio, it's also not as acidic as your vinegar or bleach, so it won't cause any harm in your drain lines over continuous use. Bleach and vinegar is gonna go all the way through your plumbing system, but bleach nor vinegar do anything for grease, right? We cook a lot at home. I'm sure there's a lot of grease buildup, and Bio 1 actually does that and breaks up that grease as well, which is the most common, correct me if I'm wrong, but is the most common reasons for backups near the kitchen sink.
Right. And I'll actually take this and not only use it on my condensate drain, I'll actually pour it directly into my kitchen sink too. Restroom sinks where, men shave or whatever you're doing, right? Any drain this can go in. Tubs, toilets, lavatories, kitchen sinks, laundry washer boxes. You can pour this down any drain in the home and it's accomplishing the same thing.
Personally, I like to use the Bacon Bio 3 times a year. I'll use it at the beginning of the spring, normally about midsummer, and then during the winter time just to make sure I'm good during the next spring. The great thing about this stuff is that you just can't overdo it. So there's no such thing as too much. I will have to buy it a little more often since I use it more, but that's giving me a peace of mind, clear headspace that I won't have water coming through my ceiling. The best time to start working on preventing the drain line backing up is going to be early springtime, right before the heavy use of HVAC, especially here in Texas. As stated before, you just can't overdo it. So, you could do it quarterly. You could do it every month if you wanted to. There's no such thing as too much, but you want to do it at least at the beginning of spring and then towards the end of winter.
The preventative side to cleaning your air conditioning condensate, what I love about it is it doesn't take much time at all. We're talking a 10-minute process, from you opening your attic drop down, walking up the stairs and pouring a cup of this down the condensation line. Once you're done, that's it. That's a wrap. You put this back up and you save it for your next use.
When I first started HVAC, I was trained by a more traditional person. So it was vinegar down the condensate line for me. It is very acidic, goes down that drain line, same as water, but just breaks away any of that gunk that may be built up within and prevent that line from backing up.
My preferred method in the past has been bleach. It's an everyday home item that I always have underneath my kitchen sink. It's readily available. I just climb up in the attic twice a year, pour a cup down the condensation drain, and it seems to keep all the gunk clean. Haven't had a backup in ever actually, so I've never had a backup from that, so it seems to work well for me.
There is no better way for a homeowner to prevent condensate backups than the Bacon Bio. I wholeheartedly believe that. It is the simplest process you can do. You're not taking a bunch of things apart. You're not doing an hour-long project like most of ourselves get ourselves into on the weekend. I don't know about you, but I do that quite a bit. But this is one of those things where I say, hey, I'm gonna do it. 15 minutes later, I'm done.
The overall importance of maintaining your condensate drain line is just to save you headache, save you time, save you money. One thing you should know about doing preventative maintenance on your condensation line is that whenever you go into the attic, you're gonna see 2 PVC drain lines that come off your system. And as a homeowner, I just want you to know the difference between the 2. So one of them, which is the one we're focused on, comes directly out of the air conditioning unit. You'll see a T, it's shaped like a T, and then an opening at the top. That's the primary drain that we're focused on, the preventative maintenance. The second PVC line that you see is actually going to be coming directly out of the aluminum pan that's underneath the air conditioning system. That one, it won't hurt to pour Bacon Bio, bleach, vinegar down, but that's not our focus point right now. So just to be able to identify the 2 different lines and understand what their purposes are, like I said, the drain line coming out of the system itself is our main focus point.
On a side note, it's not necessarily preventative maintenance on your drain line, but we come across this constant issue of people hearing a weird gurgling noise underneath their sink, normally where the condensate line terminates. Best practice for that, or the best solution for that, is just to take a cup of water up in your attic and pour it in the same way you do any of your cleanings, the bleach, vinegar, or the Bacon Bio, pour some water down that same drain line. It'll keep that air from gurgling down at the sink. You'll generally hear that gurgling noise underneath your sink during the winter time, and that's because your AC isn't running, so it's not producing water on majority of the systems we have here in Texas. So it just dries out over time. There's no water filling up what you called a P-trap earlier, that bend, that dip in the pipe, and it's allowing that air to go all the way down to the sink, and it just gurgles once it hits that P-trap underneath your sink.
If you're looking for any home services, plumbing, heating, HVAC, air, electric, please give us an opportunity to earn your business. Call the number on your screen or visit us at everyonelovesbacon.com.